The real power of using top-down assembly design is the ability to create features in the context of the assembly. These are features that are defined using references to other geometry in the assembly. They're called adaptive features because Inventor uses adaptive technology to automatically up the reference geometry. Let's take a look at an example of using adaptive features. Here I have a ratchet mechanism. What I'll be doing is adding a component to cover these parts. This is the beginning of the cover design. I'll tile these windows and drag and drop the cover component into the ratchet assembly. I'll also close the part window since I'll be editing the part in the assembly. As you can see, we'll have a problem with the cover design because I haven't added the holes necessary for the wheel and ratchet components. I'll put the cover in place, and then I'll create the holes using adaptive features. At this point, I'll change the cover to orange so it's easier to see. And then I'll add some constraints to position it on the ratchet handle. At this point, I'd like to edit the cover component to create the holes. I'll select the cover, right-click and select Edit. And then I'll zoom in on the part. I'll create a sketch on the face, and then I'll start Project Geometry. I'll select edges of the parts of the wheel and the ratchet that go through the cover. I'd like the holes to be a bit larger than the wheel in ratchet geometry, so I'll add a couple of circles a little larger than the projected geometry. I'll draw large circles so they are easier to select when creating the dimensions. Then, I'll create 0.01 inch dimensions between the offset circles. All that remains is to create the extrusion. I'll switch to the Model tab and click on Extrude. Then select the circles. Set the type to Cut and the distance to Through All, and I'll click OK. This completes the changes I need to make to the cover, so I'll right-click and select Finish Edit to return to the assembly. The simple holes I just created are an example of an adaptive feature, a feature defined in the context of the assembly. There are several advantages to using adaptive features. First of all, I was able to position and size the holes by referencing the geometry of other components in the assembly. This saves time because I didn't have to measure the diameters of the other components. I simply selected them and defined an offset distance. This approach has also led to a more robust design. If later in the design process it was decided that the diameter of the ratchet stud had to be increased, the hole on the cover will automatically resize itself to maintain the 0.01 offset I defined. I'll show you how this works. I'll activate the ratchet, click on the top face, and then click the Edit Sketch button. I'll change the dimension to 0.25. And then click on Return to Top. Inventor automatically updates the hole in the cover.